Yeah, William Shatner, when he went up in the pod
Yeah.
as an astronaut, he became an astronaut, a real astronaut,
A real
right?
astronaut, yeah.
Did you see his conversation with Jeff Bezos afterward?
I did.
His attempted conversation?
I did.
And Jeff Bezos just ignored him.
He did?
Yeah.
Knowing him, he probably had a whole thing he wanted to say. I don't know.
William Shatner?
Yeah.
I'd want to hear from William Shatner.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to hear from
In that
Captain
moment,
Kirk.
I mean, the thing took off. It came down. Everybody was alive.
Yeah.
And now you have to turn the stage. Center stage has to go to William Shatner.
Has to go to Captain Kirk.
It has to go to Captain Kirk.
Yes. Like the most famous
You'll have your
fictional
time.
astronaut of all time.
This is your rocket.
Right.
You're going to get the stage back. But right now, there's someone else in the spotlight.
Yeah. If you're trying to dance and pop champagne like like you're at a club, that's just dumb.
You're shooting a TikTok.
But William Shatner, his thing when he came back from space was he thought it would be some sort of moment where he feels connected with all of humanity.
Yeah, right.
This sort of like unifying moment, the way that you hear about. And he was like, it was all black.
There's nothing there.
There's nothing. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
It's like this greatness of space, and it's like, nope. It's like just like death. Basically,
Yeah,
it's like nothingness.
A void.
Just a void. Yeah.
But it isn't all void because there are other planets. There are places to go.
And creatures to see.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't know.
Creatures to see?
I don't know. You're saying it's not void. We don't know about any other life anywhere, though.
No, not life, but there are planets. There are satellites and planets. There's debris out there.
I know, but even the planets,
there's
like
a Tesla floating around somewhere.
Yeah. Well, now a lot of people are talking about interdimensional aliens.
Oh yeah,
you know about that? I actually want to talk
a lot about that.
Let's talk about that next time, I think, because there's some stuff I was looking at that I want to bring up. But as a prelude, I suppose, there's this idea that aliens aren't really like this idea of physical aliens from another planet.
Right.
Is ridiculous.
Right.
But we're visited all the time by interdimensional aliens.
Yes.
And that's probably more realistic.
Oh, it's not probable.
Right. I mean, but anyway,
it is more than probable.
Yeah.
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 We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
I did want to talk about spiritual health, which is related to that actually, and mental health stuff too. Because did you see any of this new report on the health of America?
No,
that came out.
No, you mean JFK's report?
RFK.
RFK's report.
Yeah, RFK's report.
Yeah.
Report.
No, I did not see.
Well,
I know about it. I know there are 69 pages, and
I can summarize it in about 2 sentences or 1 sentence. Okay, everything that could possibly be wrong with everybody is worse than it's ever been before. That's the whole report.
Right.
That's it. Everybody is sicker in every single way you could possibly imagine than ever before in American history. That's the whole report. So cancer rates are up. Obesity is up. Diabetes is up. Mental health problems are up. Everything is up. Everything is up across the board.
Yeah. One of the big ones is the I think it's like 1,000% more people are on antidepressants than they were.
1,400, yeah.
Yeah, it's like crazy.
Yeah, 1,400% increase in antidepressants.
That's crazy. That's insane.
It's insane.
250% more kids have ADHD.
Yeah.
And they're on medications.
Yeah, it's crazy.
See, here's the thing. The whole thing is this is a government action. This is a government endeavor. Government created this problem to begin with because we have all of these agencies, the FDA and even the USDA, they're all meant to protect us.
Sure.
And they've made everything worse.
Right.
Because people have cut deals with the government. Lobbyists and corporations and big pharma, pharmaceutical companies have cut deals with the government to get a lot of really bad drugs into our system and bad drugs into our food supply.
Right.
It's terrible. And now they're going to correct it. They created it.
Yeah, the thing is, the correction.
It sounds really noble, and I'm really for him pushing this agenda.
Yeah,
and I think we need it. But it's really we created it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, a lot of people, including myself, think that the correction probably has to come more from the bottom up.
From the people.
Yeah, from the people.
Yeah.
And let me show you this clip actually from Dr. Drew talking about this.
Dr. Drew, good old Dr. Drew Pinsky.
Yes.
He's a good guy. I like him. He's a little wacky, but I can't get my glasses.
to chase them with all these advanced interventions that we have. Cancer is up, obesity is up, chronic illness is up. We need to do something about it. And my hunch is there's going to be a really serious mental health problem at the core of this, or spiritual problem, however you want to shape it, that we're going to have a conversation about. And our families may sit at the cornerstone of that conversation.
As always, Dr. Drew, there's
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
So he's saying that's exactly true.
Never heard him talk like that before.
Well, he's talking like it now. I mean, it's 100% true. It's basically like, I mean, that's what we're looking at. We're not just targeting a specific illness or disease like, I don't know, lead paint in children's toys or something.
Right.
It's like everything is going wrong. Everything is going wrong. And so the only solution is going to be, as we dig further and further, we're going to see, wait a second, it has to do with the family. It has to do with
us.
It has to do with kids and how they're raised. Has to do with people's upbringing. And yeah, it definitely does have to do with environmental factors too. But at the same time, it's like, oh, kids are all eating all these processed foods. Okay, well, why are parents feeding them the processed food? Why are the parents being negligent about stuff like that? That's going on too.
Sure.
You have negligent parents. One of the things the report found, and by the way, yeah, of course, you can't avoid processed food. The problem is you can't avoid processed food. But to the degree you can avoid it, you have parents who aren't watching what their kids are eating.
Right. Ultra processed foods.
Ultra processed foods, right?
Which is
UPF, they call them.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
I forget what that definition is. It has some sort of specific.
It has to do when you change the actual structure of the food. It's not originally what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, and the seed oils and all that stuff.
Yep.
But here was an interesting one. So this goes to the mental health. Almost 75% of kids under 24 are lonely. They experience loneliness.
Okay.
They're all lonely. So like our entire young population is lonely.
Well, they're using that word lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird.
But what's loneliness?
Yeah, what is loneliness?
Yeah.
Why are they feeling lonely?
They're full of resentment.
Well, they think it has to do with phones and like the digital age going online.
Those are all symptomatic also.
I think they are.
Those
probably.
are all symptomatic.
I think they are.
No, and because then you start to take away the phones in the schools.
Yeah.
And and there are a lot of really smart people you would admire and respect their opinions to think, yeah, that's a good idea.
To take phones away.
To take phones away from kids.
Yeah.
I think that's stupid. Teach them, have them be obedient, have them have the common sense to put the phones away or not to use them or to use them.
Yeah, sure.
Use the phones discriminately.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, you should be responsible enough to have a phone on you and not use it. And get in trouble if you use it.
Right.
Same thing with computers, honestly. I mean, computers, I'm sure it's even worse now with phones and how connected everything is. But when I was in high school, it was like, my high school was forward thinking. Like everybody has to have a computer. Computers are a part of the classroom, which was different than the public high school.
Yeah.
But it was an issue where it's like, all right, like, what are you doing? And people would develop techniques to like really quickly change their screen.
Oh yeah, right.
As the teacher came
people
around,
do that
stuff
at work.
like that.
They had that. They had that with the old AT style computers that everybody had these big giant monitors. You would have a key that would just like get rid of whatever it was you were looking at, and there'd be some work related thing or something.
For the MacBook, there's you can do like a 3-finger swipe.
Oh yeah, right.
And it changes to a different desktop.
Yeah.
So somebody would just be like playing a game immediately. It's like, wow, that was fast. Like you'll never get caught.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also they also found that and this is a known thing. This is not a new finding. Single parent households.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have more depressed kids, higher rates of crime.
Yeah.
And they don't do as well as school. And now you have you look at single parent households that have exploded in the past 50 years. Like the comparison is crazy.
When you have that, you have a lot of negative emotionality in the home.
Yeah.
No father around to correct
Usually.
it. And if there is a father, he doesn't know how to correct it. He's also been victimized. Well, I didn't say victimized, but kind of, he's been victimized. He's also falling into the same thing. He's getting unhealthy too.
Yeah.
Dad is a, 350-pound diabetic. Right?
Okay.
So what is the kids are going to be eating correctly? And he brought that on himself, let's say.
Yeah.
Well, the whole family is doing that now to themselves.
Right.
And then they're getting depressed. Disease is, if you're disease, what is health? What is good health? Good health is the lack of disease. And all disease is based in that emotionality.
And that's the thing, which I know you have more experience dealing with people who are really out of sorts, right?
I do.
How do you sort of not juggle, but how do you juxtapose the degree to which they are a victim of circumstance, and to which they are responsible for their own position? Because I mean, you can look back and see what went wrong and say, of course this person became an alcoholic, of course this person became an addict, of course this person became depressed. But then you also have to be like, yeah, but you're responsible for getting out of it, right?
Yeah, right.
How do you? I mean, what do you want? What do you want those people to think? You know,
at some point in everyone's life, we all get exposed to the truth about this. At some point, okay, isn't that what Jesus said? Everyone will hear the word of his word.
Okay.
Right? So everyone will be exposed to that.
Yeah.
But not everyone will grasp onto it and take responsibility. It's a matter of responsibility. So like I grew up with all of that bad stuff in the home and a lot of resentment and divorce and, you know, strife of some sort, right?
Yeah.
And I reached a point where I saw it and then rejected that and grabbed onto something better. Yeah. So everyone has that opportunity. So when people say, well, I'm a victim of my
circumstance.
Victim of circumstances. Yeah. I'm a victim of, you know, my dad was an alcoholic. I mean, he used to beat my mother. So of course I messed up.
Right.
No, you're the one that resented that. You resented the imperfections of your parents, and now you're just like them. You always become what you hate. And that's and that's an infection. Everyone gets exposed to the truth about that at some point in their life.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that it's supposed to come through religions, but it rarely does. And it's going to come somehow, some way. You're going to be exposed to someone that's going to tell you the truth about that. And either you accept it or you don't. And I think that happens. I think. I kind of know it, but I'll say I think I know it. I think that this happens multiple times in a person's life. It's not like, oh yeah, that happened to me when I was 21 years old and I blew it.
Yeah.
You know, no, you're always exposed to the truth. There's always somebody who's going to tell you the truth. There aren't a lot of people doing it, but if you hear it, you grasp onto it, you go, oh, that's what's going on. Okay.
There is something miraculous, and I mean that word miraculous, about this ability to have complete compassion for somebody, while also admonishing and knowing what they're doing is wrong, and knowing that they have to have complete, that the ramifications of what they've done have to be addressed too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know how you're using the word compassion. I don't like the word compassion because it is so abused.
Right.
I mean, compassion means that you are sharing someone's emotions with them. You know, it's
okay. I mean compassion as
like
in
swapping psychic spit with somebody.
Yeah, what I'm trying to
gross.
say. Great. That's not what I meant.
No.
Why did you just reduce what I said to something totally disgusting?
Because that's often what that means.
No, I mean compassion.
Have such compassion for you.
I mean like having complete love for somebody.
That's it.
Complete love for somebody.
Right.
While also addressing without any reservation at all.
Can we say empathy?
If you want to. Complete love for somebody while also addressing to their face with no reservation how evil they are and how wrong they are.
Right.
It's like you are totally wrong and you must face the consequences of your actions. I love you anyway.
Right.
That's like, that sounds, it's literally humanly impossible without
No, you have to have
without
love.
God, without love.
Without God,
it's impossible.
without love in you can't do that.
Because I see people on.
If you don't have love, what you're going to need is you're going to be addicted to people instead of God. I don't mean addicted to God in a bad way.
I see people online, and all they're doing is they're arguing with each other about stuff, and like they're technically correct about things,
right,
while clearly hating the other side.
Right.
And you see that even in other countries warring with each other and stuff. It's like, oh my God, is there a good guy here? Is there a good side, or is it just a bunch of bad people constantly doing bad things because they all hate each other?
Right.
If every side hates each other, there is no good side.
No, if you don't have love in you, you cannot correct another person properly.
No,
because you won't do it.
Yeah.
And even if you tried, you do it the wrong way. And most people won't even try because they're so addicted to that person's approval that they would never want to tell them that they're doing something wrong. They will always try to validate the other person in order to get validation back.
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
Here's
and the reason why they want that validation back is because what they are criticizing in the other person has already happened to them, and they're just sharing the same thing. There's your compassion.
Okay.
It's not compassion.
Here's a clip of a child. We were talking about, a victim of circumstance.
Yeah.
So I saw this the other day. I thought it was really interesting. It's a child hearing an argument.
A child what?
Hearing an argument
Okay.
between two adults.
Okay.
So here's a child. Obviously, I mean, how old would you think that kid? Oh, wait, it didn't open on your screen. Sorry. How old do you think that kid is?
That little kid?
Yeah.
Oh,
3?
no. Oh, it could be.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe 2, maybe could be 2 or 3, but I'd have to hear him speak.
Right.
Here's an incredible study by the University of Washington that demonstrates how an argument between two adults affects a 15-month-old. The scene starts with a
Okay, 15 month.
15 months.
So
Okay.
we were totally off.
Yeah, well, it's just big boy.
safe interaction. Notice how he's following commands, he's exploring, he's fully engaged, fully interactive during the experience. Now, a new adult enters the room, setting the scene for a negative interaction.
That's aggravating. That's so annoying.
Oh, I thought it was really interesting.
Well, that's just your opinion. It's aggravating.
Watch how his behavior's changed. He's not able to be present with the toys. He's hesitant, guarded, and cautious. Children are hyper aware of all of the environmental changes that occur around them, and it shapes their own behavior when they listen and watch the emotional reaction of adults. When parents fight or if family violence is common, children are more likely to be aggressive, withdrawn, or quiet. This disruption in the developmental course might help to explain why these children are at higher risk for behavioral disorders like ADHD, depression, anxiety, and bipolar. Important inspiration to encourage positive, loving, and nurturing environments.
He's totally pulled out. He's totally pulled out of the situation right now.
Yeah, just complete loss of curiosity and playfulness.
Everything's gone. Oh man,
Right.
I'm going to get a little tear watching this.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't his parents or anything either, by the way.
Right,
that wasn't
right.
even anybody he's supposed to look up to.
He was happy to be there. Now he's not happy anymore.
Yeah, he was happy to have a toy and learn about it and,
Oh my
and
gosh.
be curious. And then it was just completely gone. So
Imagine having that happen repeatedly over and over again in your family.
yeah,
Like-
like every day.
Oh my God.
And you have that going on, and then it's no wonder.
You become a different person.
It's no wonder people are going to have ADHD and depression, and they're obese. And then it's like, okay, well, why do they have a physical? Why do they have high blood pressure? They have high blood pressure because they eat too many salty foods. No, they have high blood pressure because they're fat. Why are they fat? They're fat because they overeat. Why do they overeat? They overeat because they can't. Because they get distracted too much and they need some relief, and because they went through this.
Right.
So it's what I'm trying to get back to.
Now, and that kid, okay, in my case, that's what happened. I know that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I talk about it freely all the time.
Right.
And I was that kid.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah.
And then when I got old enough, well, the first thing I turned to was the effects of nicotine. I started smoking.
Right.
When I was a little kid, and then
Were you a chubby kid?
oh yeah, well, the first thing I went to was food. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was.
So you were chubby?
Yeah, you know that.
I don't know I know you were fat at certain points. I
Yeah.
don't know what age you actually
I
got fat.
Okay, so I was called fat
Okay.
at a young age.
Okay.
And I was chubby, and I didn't slim down really until I was well into my 20s.
Right.
Really.
So you
I
had
had various times. I was
food,
up
then
and
you
down.
had nicotine.
So I had food. Yeah, first it was food. It's always food first.
When did you start smoking?
I think I tried it probably when I was like in the 6th grade.
That's crazy.
So like that'd be like in the late 60s.
Yeah.
And then I picked up, and then I started smoking diligently when I was in the 8th grade. There was a girl that I had a crush on, and she smoked Newport cigarettes. So of course I smoked Newport cigarettes, and I used to smoke them, and like all the kids were like, "Oh, I gotta have a cigarette. I gotta have a cigarette," and I didn't feel that. I said, "Well, I'm not addicted yet. I gotta get addicted to this thing." And I smoked enough so that I would develop a physical addiction like them, and now I had their approval. It was terrible. And then of course, alcohol came after that, liquor. So it's always you're looking to put out the pain. But what pain was I putting out? I was putting out the pain produced by the resenting the imperfections of my upbringing. I didn't like that we were poor. We were in poverty. We didn't live in nice places.
Yeah.
And all my other friends had that. They had a dad. I didn't have a dad at home. So they had a dad and a station wagon, and they went on vacations, and they went out to dinner, and we didn't have any of that stuff. Me and my sisters, my two sisters. So I resented it. So I resented poverty. I resented that I developed a fear of poverty, and a fear of not being accepted. You know, so I would do all these things to be accepted.
Yeah.
You know, become part of the gang. Yeah, it was pretty abysmal. And you know what? But that lets me see what's going on with other people.
Yeah.
See, I don't have any of that approval need anymore.
Right.
So when I see it in other people, it's very recognizable because I went through it too.
So when you have all that stuff going on, you have a bunch of different things wrong with you. You know, you're a smoker, you overeat.
I overeat,
you
smoke,
drink, so
drink.
You're breaking your liver, you're breaking your lungs, you're breaking your body because you're just fat. So you have all the you are the archetypical unhealthy American at that point, right?
Yeah, at that point.
And I'm not focusing on you. I'm just saying somebody who goes through that, who has an upbringing like that. So now if you look at all these single parent households,
right.
These bad circumstances kids go through growing up, it's no wonder that they turn out this way and have all these chronic diseases. So there are people out there who are only looking toward greedy corporations,
right,
as the solution, as the key, you know, the problem. And therefore that's where the solution's going to be.
Right.
And there is truth in that we have to address that, but you need an awake, healthy population in order to do that.
Yes.
And we are decreasingly moving away from that.
Moving
you know,
away. They have this. There's this. You know what a fatty streak is? You ever hear of a fatty streak?
No.
Okay, so they
what is that? Is that a?
Has nothing to do with me being a fat kid. No, no. There's something. I don't know.
Is that a physical thing?
Yeah. It's a physical thing. I don't know what the medical term is, but it's called a fatty streak. They have determined that in kids this age, I don't know if it's this age. How old? Oh, he's not even 2 years old.
Yeah.
But in kids 5 and 10 years old, they're discovering what they call a fatty streak. It's a streak, a little yellow line of fat forming in their arteries.
Oh my God.
And that is the precursor to hardening the arteries and building up a plaque.
Hardening?
Yeah.
Hardening the arteries.
Hardening.
Yeah.
Hardening of the arteries.
Okay.
And heart disease.
Really?
Yeah, vascular disease and heart disease. And they used to find it in older people. They're finding it now in little kids.
Wow.
Yep. So everybody starts off with that, and then as they get older, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. So these kids have this yellow line going through their vascular system. It's pretty.
I thought it was going to be something else. I was going to say I had a fatty streak in college. I couldn't stop eating protein bars. Gained like 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Protein bars will do that too.
Oh my God. I thought for the longest time that me eating the protein bars and gaining weight was just all this muscle I'm putting on. It wasn't.
No.
It wasn't. It was just because I was working out a little bit, but not enough for the protein bars. I was just getting
So
fat.
the protein, why were you gaining weight from the protein bars? Or was
the protein bars aren't great food. It's not a good food source
at all.
all.
It's not a good quality protein. What it is.
No. Well, not only that, but it's like 200 calories in this little dense format that you're just going to pop in, and it tastes real sweet like a candy bar.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a meal replacement.
And then you want one 3 or 4 hours later again. It's like, wait a second. If I had a chicken breast, I could have eaten like a chicken breast instead, which I know is you can't always do that. But my point is, if you do that with maybe some olive oil, some cheese and stuff, and you have a whole meal, it's like, okay, I can go to the rest of the day. I can go till dinner. But when you have a protein bar, it's like you forget you ate it an hour later, and you're like, oh, it's time for something to eat again. So that happens. And
it also the artificial sweeteners that they use, the sugar alcohols and things like that, that messes with your insulin. And once you start messing with your insulin, it affects your glucose, and then you get food cravings from it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have a protein bar. You're not hungry, but later on you're really hungry. So you'll have 2 cheeseburgers instead of 1. You know.
Actually, I would have a cheeseburger and then a protein bar.
And then a protein bar.
I would have a cheeseburger and then a protein bar right after the cheeseburger.
I've done that myself. It's like, I'm going to have a protein bar. This will be a healthy dessert.
I was like pear-shaped. It was terrible.
You were okay. No, I used to visit you at school. You looked okay. You looked all right.
I felt like I was waddling around.
I used to visit you at school, and I would drive like many hours to go visit you. And I'd be eating protein bars on the way.
I know.
Because I didn't want to stop at all those McDonald's and Burger King and all these. Oh, my God.
You'd be better off with like some cheese or something, though. Honestly.
Well, I travel with cashews now. I like cashews. Yeah. I don't travel with those bars anymore.
Well, one of the reasons I was eating so much in college, though, is because
organic cashews.
Organic cashews, okay. Which I don't think are that good for you, by the way.
They're good. It's good.
Cashews, I don't think cashews are that healthy for you. But there are a lot of carbs in cashews.
They're not healthy. They're not good for your sister.
No, I guess she's allergic. She thinks she's allergic. I don't even know.
To it, yeah.
But one of the reasons I was eating protein bars is because I was stressed out. I was under so much stress in college and I wasn't handling it.
Right.
I know you don't even like the word handle, but you have all these linguistic things that you don't like and do like. But anyway, to speak just layman's, English,
Okay.
I wasn't handling stress well.
You don't have to comply to my lingo.
You'll interrupt me and tell me you don't like a word I choose or something.
Yeah.
You'll compare it to sucking psychic spit or whatever you said before. Because I said compassion. Totally nice word. People like it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was under a lot of stress. I wasn't handling it right. I was fearful. I was angry. I got even a little paranoid, not in a crazy sense, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And
that would have led to what it does lead to with a lot of people, your age and younger and older, depression. What they call depression.
Right.
And then they go and they need help for that, and they still are doing the same things. But now they now they have a pharmaceutical solution.
Well, I felt lonely too. I did feel that loneliness, what people call it, which I think there's a legitimate loneliness where it's like I feel like, interacting, I feel like some social interaction. But then there's also this loneliness where you feel lesser than and you want to feel better than you do. And I think people call that loneliness too. But so I wasn't feeling good, and I was under a lot of stress that I should have been able to handle. I should have been able to perform well under, and I wasn't, because I wasn't spiritually dealing with things correctly.
Yeah.
But
I'd be interested. I don't know what Dr. Drew. I don't know where he goes with that spiritual discussion. I'm going to.
I've heard him a little more. He goes the right direction.
I've always liked him.
His big thing is that we are focusing too much on removing stress and not enough on teaching kids how to live under stress and thrive under stress, which is exactly what we talk about. And that's what I was going to say too, is I should have been able to handle the stress of a really busy college schedule.
You got pulled into it, but you did pick up.
I eventually did fine. That's true. But
a lot of people don't survive that.
But I do have a gripe with the State of the Nation health report that came out, because it does focus on stress at one point, and it says that we're under more stress than ever. Kids are under more stress than ever. And I'm like, wait a second, whoever wrote this is totally conflating stress, which is an outside force, with resentment and how people are dealing with stress.
They don't know what stress is.
Which is an internal thing.
Right.
So they ask people, are you under a lot of stress? Mm-hmm. Somebody could be under twice the amount of stress as a weaker person. And that weaker person will say that they're under stress more than than the really stressed person. Because that person, the weaker person, is stressed out.
Yeah, so what they'll do is, yes, it does. That's how they handle it, but they don't know what stress is.
But they get these words conflated. So you come away from this report thinking, yep, we need to eliminate stress. Eliminate stress. Well, no. You don't need to eliminate stress. You need to teach kids how to thrive under stress, how to build resilience to stress.
Right.
And Dr. Drew said the same thing. I was actually
what they will do, and not only to eliminate the stress, there's that, but there's also managing stress. How to manage stress
management.
Yeah, they'll teach you all the little hacks,
Yeah, light some incense and
take some deep breaths
on the floor and
take a medication. That's the problem with medicine
and the medication, right?
With science today.
Yeah,
they only have one solution in their bag of tricks. It's a drug.
It's a drug. Yeah.
Yes, that's all there is to it.
Well, okay, actually, so here's the thing: is you have people looking at this. They're almost looking at this like it's a spectrum. Like, okay, how do we handle stress? There are only two choices. We can go the medication route on this side, or we could go the holistic self-care, take a warm bath and read myself some positive affirmations route.
It's still drugs.
I know. So they think those are the two directions to go in, but they're both the same thing. They're both bad. They're both wrong. They're both not thriving in stress. They're managing stress and basically numbing yourself in different ways. They're both running from stress is what it is. So,
the funny thing is when you do all of that holistic stuff, you're actually applying the same pharmaceutical, the same psychotropic reaction.
You're activating
the same thing, except you're self-activating it instead of doing it with a medication, with a drug. It's the same thing.
Well,
and that's why people get addicted to things like yoga and all of these. And they get addicted to working out at the gym.
Yeah.
They call that stress relief. Yeah, it is stress relief. You feel a lot better doing it.
Right.
But then you walk out of the gym And then the realities of life smack you right in the face again, and you don't have protection.
And that's one of the reasons it is so hard to for our app, our meditation app, is to even market it, to make it appeal to people. It's like, hey, like you've reached level 3, level 4. It's like we're not
that will make them feel great.
I know, but we're not trying to activate these dopamine centers and these serotonin. Their serotonin. We're not trying to do that.
No.
So we're not offering something that's going to give you some sort of immediate gratification, make you feel better right away, like a comedy show or a jelly donut or anything like it. We're not offering that.
We're showing
or
people
Calm or Headspace that are going to make you do a bunch of breaths over and over and
give you all this philosophy.
Yeah.
And no. We're directing people within themselves how to deal with the stress, because people who have a lot of stress that deal with it well become really, really powerful and strong. And it's not their power.
Right.
It's God's power entering through them.
Oh, and unfortunately, like I said, society now is so concerned with how much stress people are under instead of how people are dealing with stress, how people survive under stress. They totally missed the boat on that. There's this one guy, I don't know if you saw this, he became a TikTok star in the past 30 days. I think his name is Oliver, and he sailed from the West Coast, maybe like Oregon or something, to Hawaii.
Right.
And his whole thing was he quit his job. He worked in like a tire shop or something, or for a tire company. He quit his job. He said, "Screw that. I'm emptying out my 401k. I'm buying a sailboat." He took a year just by himself to learn how to sail. That's just all he did, is just learn how to sail. Practiced at some rivers over and over, and said, "I'm going."
That's been done before.
It's been done before.
Yeah.
And he left for Hawaii.
Right.
And he documented his trip every day. He would upload a video, a TikTok, saying, "Hey, it's day 13. Here I am. Okay, this happened today." And he has to fix basically the big takeaway from this was that his sailboat just breaks every single day. He's repairing something else.
Yeah.
And one of the comments was, "Congratulations, you've learned what it means to sail. You're just constantly repairing everything
constantly
going
fixing
wrong."
everything. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it's like his rudder broke, then his engine broke, then this broke and that broke, and this broke off, and he has to reattach it, all that stuff. But
he's getting very skilled at it. That's for sure.
But his personality was a little socially awkward. He talked about how he's not great around people. You know, he has this kind of awkward laugh he does, and it became endearing, and people like love him and embrace him for it. Right. You know, he's great. He's doing this. But he gets to Hawaii, and there's this big celebration for him.
Yeah.
Which I suppose he wanted. Like, this is what he wanted. He wanted to document his journey and basically find a way to live outside the auspices of corporate America and do his own thing. And he did that, and he made this following. He's going to be able to make money and get brand deals now and all that stuff. All the comments with him at his like welcome party, like, "Oh my God, oh no, get him out of there. That poor man. He has social anxiety. He can't deal with this. Get him out of there.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Leave him alone. Leave him alone."
Yeah.
And he's there, and he's taking pictures with everybody. There's like this line out the door of people who all want photos with him. And I'm like, did you not understand the whole point of his trip?
Yeah, this guy just made a huge step in life.
The whole point was
forward,
stepping outside of what's comfortable, being brave, and just grabbing life by the horns,
facing adversity,
showing showing what's possible. It's like, that's scary, but I'm going to do it anyway. And that was great when it was just sailing and showing pictures of him and his cat. Yeah. But when it's actually dealing with people, it's like, oh my God, no, he can't do it. He has social anxiety after all.
It's funny.
So they use that term, like social anxiety, like it's been diagnosed, and maybe it has been diagnosed, as this crutch that means that he cannot handle this circumstance. That's what it means. I mean, like, they treat it like almost like an actual medical condition, like
a disease.
Like, you can't stand. Why? Because you have a broken leg. No. It's social anxiety. That you're naming a set of symptoms. If he's able to break out of that and realize he can, in fact, stand up, as an analogy, it's like, okay, well, you don't have a broken leg anymore, right? It's like, yeah, you don't have social anxiety. You're good. You're going through it.
I mean, that guy, he's a better person now than he was before he set sail.
You would hope so, right?
Yeah. Look at all this stuff that he had to overcome and did and made it to the other side.
Right.
You know, who does that? Who's the good example of that right now? The biggest example that we have right now of that is Donald Trump.
Oh, okay.
Overcoming it. That guy thrives on solving problems.
Yeah,
and being
sure.
attacked and getting over it.
Right.
I mean, that's his whole thing, and that's what a lot of his adversaries don't get. The more they throw at him, the more he just picks it up and throws it right back, or just picks it up and fixes it and puts it down.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty amazing. Yeah. But you know, it's like anything else. It's like training for an athletic event. I mean, you fall down, you get up, and now you're stronger. You fall down again, and you get up, and now you're stronger. Or even going to the gym. I mean, there are things that you put in your way that it's an exercise. It's an exercise. You're exercising physically muscles, but that guy is exercising his ability to overcome stress.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
I mean, put it this way: if every time he got a rip in his sail or whatever it is, or his mast, whatever. If every time something bad happened to him in his voyage, he just resented it. And went and put resentment energy into it and fixed it. You know, he's worse off at the end of that trip.
Well, he wouldn't be able to do it again.
No, he wouldn't want to do it.
You know, he wouldn't want to. But I can't stand people who point to instances like that.
Yeah.
And point out like, oh, see, you shouldn't have done this.
I know.
Oh, see, he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a big mistake. With every time something goes wrong, instead of seeing an opportunity to correct it, seeing an opportunity to grow, they see it as a reason why it was a big mistake the whole time.
That's
like,
a good point.
Oh, you know, they won't leave him alone. He's not gonna do well. I remember.
Why would they? I don't.
People are like that.
There's a lot of stuff I don't understand, and I don't know why they do that.
I know.
I guess maybe they're just projecting their own.
I think
inabilities.
I think so.
Their own mental disabilities, basically.
I remember at Whole Foods, there was a, do I want to say the name of the guy? I don't know, but there was an old guy that worked there, and he was the fastest out of everybody,
right,
on the grocery town. I've mentioned him before.
that old Italian guy from Brooklyn.
Yeah. So, and I was the only one who knew what he was talking about when he said, "Go stock the ricotta." But anyway,
the ricotta.
That's ricotta, by the way.
Mozzarella.
Yeah, well, everybody else says mozzarella, so he would say mozzarella. Yeah. But anyway,
the first time I tried to buy fresh mozzarella here on the Cape, literally they didn't know what I was talking about. Actually, it wasn't fresh mozzarella. I just wanted to get some slicing. They had some, you know, that they would slice for you, like a cold cut. You know?
Yeah. That's weird.
And, okay, and I said I'll have. I saw it in the case. I said I'll have a half pound of mozzarella. He's like, huh? Mozzarella. Yeah. Mozzarella. Oh, okay.
Yeah. That happened to me the other day with chopped meat.
Oh yeah, chopped meat.
I said I'll take a pound of chopped meat.
Yeah.
And the guy just went,
yeah.
What kind of meat? Chopped how? It's like, no, sorry, ground beef.
Yeah.
And it is ground beef. You could say ground beef too, but I mean chopped meat.
Well, you could specify. I mean, in a butcher in New York, you could specify chuck. So I would say chuck chop. Or if you want sirloin, you get sirloin. You know.
Okay, so anyway, this guy who worked there, this old guy, he was faster than everybody. He was more efficient than everybody. He did a very good job, really. And there was another employee, this woman, and she was in a different department, but everybody knew each other. And she would look at him and be like, "Oh, the way he's walking won't be long."
What?
And I'd be like, "What? What are you talking about?" It's like, he's in pain. I could just tell he's in pain, the way he walks. And he did have he obviously had a stiff back or something. For all you know, it was fused. I don't know. But he didn't show any signs of pain. He never complained, anything. And now she did. She actually had things wrong with her that she would complain about.
Yeah.
But she was looking at him saying, won't be long till he's done. And she ended up.
How old was he?
You know what? It's one of those things where I wouldn't be surprised if, because of how youthful he came across, you'd want to say but he still has gray hair and a mustache and everything. You'd want to say he's 70, but if you found out it was late 70s, it'd be like, wow,
right?
You know, I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway, she's in her maybe 40s saying this stuff about him.
Yeah.
And she ended up having to quit or take time off or leave or whatever because of her health things well before he ever did.
Right.
She ended up leaving the company before him.
That's ironic.
For health-related things.
Yeah, wow.
And she the whole time is, he's too old for this. He's getting too old. And he outlasted her another, few years.
Yeah. Do you ever see him
I don't.
working there anymore?
I don't. I saw him a bit maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, but
probably
I
don't
haven't
work
seen
there
it. Probably
anymore.
not.
Yeah, probably not.
But anyway, the point is, you have these naysayers, very pessimistic people, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. They're self-defeating all the time, all the time.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I know it's really like even talking about you're talking about MAHA before, right?
Yeah, make America healthy.
Make America healthy.
Right.
I mean, even that's, that becomes political, and even this is politicized, but, it's in the news this week or the last 2 weeks is Golden Dome.
Golden Dome, okay.
Golden Dome?
Yeah.
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 And here, there was this guy in I think it was definitely the 60s, who had developed this laser technology.
Okay.
Okay, that would be, because Golden Dome is about protecting the country, putting a golden dome
From
over
missiles?
the country from missiles, right?
Basically.
So this guy developed this this laser technology that from outer space. Well, here, let me show you.
Okay.
Go to 44.
Considerable. I think you've made your point, Goldfinger. Thank you for the demonstration.
Choose your next witticism carefully, Mr. Bond. It may be your last. The purpose of our 2 previous encounters is now very clear to me. I do not intend to be distracted by another. Good night, Mr. Bond.
Do you expect me to talk?
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. There is nothing you can talk to me about that I don't already know.
All right, so
Great.
yeah.
You just want an excuse to watch that.
What? That's not real?
It's not even related.
Oh, well, it is. The thing is, this whole idea of shooting laser, that was Goldfinger, and he had this laser, and he was going to,
Sure.
And he could shoot it from space, and all
Okay.
that stuff. And that was the whole thing about, this Golden Dome is not new. That whole concept, that goes back to Reagan, to the Reagan era.
Sure, they called it Star Wars.
Well, it was SDI, Strategic Defense Initiative.
Okay.
Star Wars is what the press called it. The
Yeah,
press,
I know.
Because
They made fun of it.
They wanted to make fun of Reagan. They wanted to make it seem like he was, like he would think that the things that he saw in the movies were real.
Because he's an actor.
Like I just did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's an actor.
Right.
And he's not really the president. And, people talk about the press
It's the same playbook as today, by the way.
Oh, it's the same thing. I saw it back then. Then I was like in my early to mid 20s at the time. And it was shocking to see the press actually just lying all the time about the president, about the things he did, the things he said, the way he acted. And so Reagan had this idea to bring Star Wars to real life.
Okay.
The idea was so they had all these, animated pictures, and they showed the technology really wasn't fully developed. It didn't exist.
Yeah.
But he wasn't pretending that it did. That's what they made it seem like it was a Hollywood fantasy of a Hollywood actor.
Yeah.
So they, denigrated it. And they put billions and billions of dollars into it. And it basically just fell away. I mean, his term ended. Mm-hmm. George Bush took over, and then the Soviet Union collapsed.
Yeah.
Somebody just forgot it. They had changed the name of it at some time, and at some point, and then the Soviet Union fell, and everybody just wasn't afraid of the Russians. I grew up being deathly afraid. I wasn't afraid, but that's all we talked about was how the Russians were going to destroy us.
Yeah,
the Russians are going to nuke New York, because I grew up in New York, and we were just going to all be destroyed. And we had all these things. When you were a kid, talking, out in the street, talking to your friends, you talked about Vietnam, how, hey, we're going to, when you're 18, you're going to, I'm a teenager now doing this. When you were 18, you're going to get drafted, or you're going to go into, get sent into the jungle, and you're going to be captured and tortured, or you're going to be, your limbs are going to get blown off with a landmine, or you're just going to be shot down. Or if that didn't happen, maybe we'll just blow up. Maybe we'll just be vaporized by the Russians. You know? So there was a lot of fear stuff. So when this stuff came around, it was like, oh, this is the solution. This is fine. And then, it all fell apart, and Russia fell apart, and it really wasn't a big deal anymore. But that's what we have now. We have actually, a lot of stuff was really developed from that, and they never continued it. But now we have a lot more technology, and there really can be Star Wars.
Yeah.
Now, then they don't have, we don't have those, we don't have death rays and ray guns and things like that. We have lasers.
I don't know. Who knows?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know. I kind of think we might.
Who knows?
We might have it. But now Golden Dome, they're putting in, I think it's, is it part of the big, beautiful bill?
I don't know.
I think it's, yeah, I looked at it's like 1,000 pages long.
Yeah, nobody's reading that.
Well,
the people who are voting for it aren't reading it either.
I might have read more than they do because
sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this time because I looked through the defense stuff,
right?
And we're going to build a new Virginia class sub and all these things that we haven't been able to do for a long time. And they're putting, I think, 25 billion into it. It's going to be, so they're saying 175 billion to develop it.
Yeah.
Okay. So all the detractors are pointing to Israel, and they're talking about Iron Dome.
Yeah, the Iron Dome.
The Iron Dome.
Sure.
If you see some of that stuff, I mean, it works.
Oh, of course it works.
It's tremendous.
Yeah.
Go to, I'll show you.
It doesn't have 100% success rate, unfortunately.
No, look at 40, go to 45. It's absolutely astounding. Most people have seen this already.
If it didn't work, Israel would be gone.
Oh, it'd be gone a long time ago. Look at that. Here they come. Here come the missiles. They're going to land and they're going to kill people. Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Midair.
Nope. Sorry about the stupid music. But just watch it for a second. It's like absolutely spectacular. Here they come. These are rockets.
Right.
Hamas.
Now, they're not nukes.
No, they're not nukes. Boom. 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 These are... It's spectacular.
Yeah, very scary.
I know, but it's scary but these are missiles that are not going to land. Look at this one. Here comes one now. Boom. Nope. Here comes another one. Gonna hit. Nope. Not gonna hit. The biggest danger is falling debris. So, the detract... There's another one. Here it comes. Gonna kill somebody. Nope. Done.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. So to have something like that, they say, well, we can't do that because Israel, the narrative that the Democrats are bringing up is, well, Israel's the size of New Jersey. We're too big for that. Right? We're way bigger than the size of we have 50 New Jerseys or whatever. But we can do that we could have 100 Iron Domes and call it the Golden Dome.
Maybe.
And it's not just that. It's a whole system. I'm no expert on it, but it's a whole system of interceptors and things from space and everything else.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it. All I do know is like from a very common sense approach.
Yeah.
Like if I was just hearing about this for the first time,
right,
I'd be like, yeah, well, duh, if there's a chance we can do it, we have to try to.
Right.
Like, yeah, we have to have the security of it.
Right.
I don't know why people's immediate reaction would be like, this is dumb. This is stupid.
Because you've got like 40 or 50 or whatever it is, not 50, but 40 something Democrats that are against it.
Well, they're just reflexively against anything a Republican might like.
I know, but who else is against it? China's against it. Russia's against it. And Elizabeth Warren,
So Trump, of course, named it Golden Dome. He likes everything gold.
Right.
Right. But I did see this clip of him talking about gold versus iron, for the name.
Really?
Yeah, here.
We had the Iron Dome, but somehow Gretchen Golden Dome sounds better to me. I don't know. Maybe it's not. What do you like better? Golden Dome or Iron Dome? What do you like better? Golden. Let's have a vote. Golden Dome. Oh, no, I think we're in trouble. Oh.
He wanted an applause.
Yeah.
How about the Iron Dome? Good. Keep it. That's good. Because we made all the changes already. It'll be a little bit...
yeah.
Even the renderings look very golden, but beautiful. No, it's...
Yeah.
The technology that we're developing, and we don't even know what all the technology is. I have a feeling that we have... Anybody... If you remember when we started... What's Musk's, what's the...
SpaceX?
Yeah, but what's the...
Starlink.
Yeah. When these Starlink things started going up and I started looking at, mapping them out and we've seen them going by. You see them going by.
Oh yeah.
And I'm looking, and I looked at a diagram of this one time. I go, oh my God, the entire planet's going to be.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking,
totally surrounded.
And I'm looking at this, and I'm going, wait a minute. This is to bring internet service to people in Appalachia and in Africa. That's not what you got to be kidding me. This is not an like a cable company starting up.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. This is obviously going to play a big part in our defense system. And as it turns out, that's what it's going to do.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. The thing is,
well, it's amazing how much you can sort of perceive just by understanding human nature. It's like you look at the potential of this, and you look at who's in charge, and just knowing people. It's like, yeah, of course somebody's going to use this for that. Of course that's what it's for.
We need protection. We have enemies, and they want to kill us. I can't imagine that right now, and nobody talks about this, but why is it that there are not right now surrounding the United States, because we're always protected by our big thing. Even Zelensky was talking about, you're protected by the ocean, right?
Yeah.
Because that's it is one of the biggest protectors we have. We're surrounded by these giant oceans. So why is it that we aren't right now surrounded by Chinese drone submarines, like right off our coasts? And how do we know that we're not? And how come nobody's not talking about it? They'd be crazy not to do that.
I know, but everybody sort of assumes that there's a level of surveillance and technology and counter surveillance that we just don't even know about. That's basically what everybody assumes.
It would have to be. So. It would have to be. I know that we had,
And we do have an ocean, and the ocean's good. And he was, if I remember correctly, Zelensky was just being a little twerp, saying, "You have an ocean, but eventually they will get here."
If they're not here already.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of people don't know this. During World War II, we had German submarines right off of New York, right off of Long Island. Did you know that a German U-boat landed on Long Island in the Hamptons?
Yeah, I think I did know that.
And I don't know how many.
Did it land, or was it spotted? I forget. There's something.
Oh, they've been spotted right now. There are wrecks that divers go on right now up and down the coast from the Carolinas, off of Jersey, and off of Long Island, and.
From World War II.
From World War II.
Yep.
They were right there. And no, there was this one, there's a whole story behind it. Somebody must have made a movie about it at some point. It's so spectacular. But a bunch of Nazis came on the beach from a U-boat and got on the Long Island Railroad and went into Manhattan and checked into a hotel. Just like somebody going on a convention, business convention, And I think some of them made it to Chicago.
Yes.
And, I think they caught them all.
We need 2 room keys. Yeah.
Where's the pool? We need more pillowcases. It's pretty nasty.
That is a speck of schmutz on my towel.
Well, they had the Brooklyn Navy Yards. You remember we talked.
Actually, schmutz is Yiddish. They wouldn't say schmutz.
Schmutz. No, they would say they wouldn't say things like schmutz.
Yeah. Anyway, what?
The Brooklyn Navy Yards, they used to build all the battleships and stuff there, and I guess do repairs. Have you ever heard of the Brooklyn Navy Yards?
Sure, I don't know anything about it.
They still call it the Brooklyn Navy Yards, but I think it's like this big, huge business complex, like an incubator type operation right now. They call it the Brooklyn Navy Yards. But they used to build and repair and battleships and stuff there. And when they used to leave, because there were so many U-boats off of the coast, when they used to actually come in and out of the harbor, it's right on the mouth of the East River in New York Harbor. And when the ships used to come, they used to actually have to do a voluntary blackout of Brooklyn. I don't know if they did the whole city at the time, but they would do Brooklyn.
Oh, wow.
Or they would shut out all the lights. They used to have, what did they call, what was the term? Civilians used to train to do, my mother used to tell me about it when she was a kid. They were wardens, air raid wardens. Right. And
so like a neighborhood would have one, right?
Yeah, right. And they would put on a helmet and they would have a flashlight, make sure everybody had all the lights out. Well, they used to do that in Brooklyn. And there was this bakery because what would happen is the ships would leave, and if Brooklyn was lit up, they could see a silhouette from the U-boat, and then they would know where it was and what it was. And so they wanted to do that undercover. So they would black out all of Brooklyn. So there was this bakery. I don't remember the name of it, but it was like, it's not around anymore. It was Ettingers or Wappingers or something Jers.
Okay.
It was a bakery, and they developed a blackout cake.
Yeah.
Which was
that.
like chocolate pudding. It was very there used to be this
and that's what it referred to.
Yeah, it became in New York. It became a we're going to eat blackout cake in defiance of the Nazis. So yeah, well, leave it to Jews to come up with food to defy the Nazis.
Okay,
but it's a great way to do it.
Uh-huh.
And there used to be this store in this is years later. Of course, I'm like maybe, I don't know, 20 years old or something. There was this bakery in Bayside, Queens, and I was told that they had the best blackout cakes because this other place had closed down, and they did the exact recipe. And I bought a blackout cake. I had no idea the history behind it.
Sure.
And I bought it, and it was really, really good. It was like decadent chocolate and all that stuff.
I mean, wartime spirit's important.
Yeah.
Right. What did they encouraged? What do they call them? Freedom gardens, Liberty gardens,
what is
something
that?
like that. It was basically like, we're rationing food.
Yeah.
So we want you to grow your own. So it was encouraging gardening.
Really?
Yeah.
In New York? In the cities?
Oh, I don't know about New York. I'm talking about in general, like a wartime effort.
Yeah, there's no place to grow anything.
And what
in New
they
York.
had, Liberty bonds? Was that it?
Liberty bonds. I don't know. Was that World
bonds.
War II? World War One.
I think that was World War II. Yeah,
maybe
it was World War II. But anyway, this clip with Trump, I wanted to comment on it.
Yeah.
So the point is, I mean, obviously he's going to name it Golden Dome, of course. I mean, he has a golden dome on his head. His head is a golden dome. So
Golden Dome. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, if you know what, if China's against it, I'm for it.
Yeah, and China's blinked on the trade war too.
In what way?
Well, they're doing the negotiations. I don't know what the result of that was in Switzerland. Was it? Is that where they went?
Sorry, I'm a little behind on that.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing was, of course, they have the trade war escalating, just a bunch of tariffs. Basically, just a halt on trade. Because when tariffs are so high, you might as well just call that a complete shutdown of trade.
Sure.
I mean, if you have a 200% tariff on something, nothing's getting sold, right? So China and Trump kept escalating with that. And I knew China would blink first because China definitely, their whole economy relies on being able to sell to America.
Sure.
That's what and they have diversified, by the way, since like 10 years ago. So because they probably know that's a risk, that's a weakness. But I'll tell you the point, and this is not an academic analysis at all, but I will tell you, and frankly, academic analyses only get you so far. You have to go with your gut. You have to go with what you see. I will tell you the point at which I realized that China was going to blink, that China was in the weak position. They were putting out memes on Twitter making fun of Donald Trump's trade war.
Okay.
Like cartoons.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if the Chinese embassy is putting out cartoons on Twitter on a website that their own citizens aren't even allowed to use, so they will never see this. They're literally targeting Americans with these cartoons, therefore. And if they're targeting Americans with a cartoon designed to make Trump look bad, they are resorting to trying to shift public opinion,
yeah,
because they know that that's the only way that that's the last hope they get to stop this.
Right.
Is getting Trump's voters against him, which means they don't hold the cards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do.
So they're trying to influence public opinion because they know that they don't have enough up their sleeve as far as economics and trade policy goes to actually win the trade war.
Right.
So when I saw that, I knew, I'm like, okay, they're trying to convince Trump's voter base that he made the wrong decision.
Yeah.
They don't have it. They don't have any ammo left here. And then like within a week, they announced that they're going to meet with Scott Bessent,
right,
Treasury Secretary in Switzerland or whatever. I don't know what happened with that. I haven't been paying attention.
Well, the thing is, like 140% and all that's whatever. I don't know what the top
it was something ridiculous
tariff was, but those are obviously not going to be real. Those aren't real tariffs.
Yeah,
I mean, they're negotiating. It's part of the negotiating, right? What's going to happen is, I believe, is that we're going to wind up with reasonable tariffs with all the countries, and it's basically it'll serve as it's like a VAT tax, just the way Europe does.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, people want laissez-faire, free market capitalism, and you can't have it with other countries who are putting policies in place to favor themselves. if you have other countries who are not operating on a free market basis, then you can't treat them like they are. That's what it comes down to.
Right, but that's what they want.
They want you to.
Yeah.
That's the trick, is saying, oh, I guess you don't like the free market. It's like, well, I would love a free market, but they're not free market.
Right.
So why should we be free market?
Correct.
We have to be reciprocal. You cannot be more open than the person you're trading with.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
Right.
It can't work.
And once you're put on a level basis, when everyone's equal, then you don't even need them anymore because everyone's trading freely. That's how you get to a really, really free trade.
Ideally, and to the degree that we can approach it, it's great. But we're just never not going to have bad actors. You're never not going to have people taking the chance to benefit their own country, get a leg up on another country by putting some sort of tariff or some sort of health regulation that's going to prevent your cheese from being sold in their country, but it's really for health. But of course, it's actually serving as a tariff, as a trade barrier. So you're never going to have it 100% because there are too many bad, underhanded people in the world to have it 100%.
Right.
That's true.
Then you have the other interference too, which is politicians on our side who are working behind the scenes to cut deals so that we're paying these tariffs and maybe they're getting something in return.
I don't know. Maybe.
Like maybe some corrupt bunch of politicians of a particular family that I can think of right now.
Are you talking about Joe Biden?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. I don't know. What is your point about the tariffs? What are you saying about with tariffs or in general?
No, just the trading in general. Just not specifically the tariffs, but in cutting deals, negotiating, and basically
and getting personal favors,
screwing us, screwing the American taxpayer or the American consumer, and paying higher prices, and it's coming back to them somehow.
Okay.
All right. Is there anything else we wanted to handle today?
I think that's probably it for today.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.